It's for a challenge on Paul Clark's Facebook group, and I just thought it would be fun to to paint something like that today. So let me see if I can see a chat on my laptop because sometimes I want to see the chat and I can't see it on my phone. So, oh, there we go. Yep, let me mute that so then I don't hear an echo. Anyways, is there anyone joining yet? Give it a couple minutes maybe. I um I know it's like a really scary day today for weather. There's a lot of thunderstorms and high winds, things like that. So if you hear thunder in the background, that's what's going on here. Okay, we have someone. Hey, who's joining today? Sorry, I have to get like binoculars so I can see. Um, let's see. Okay, there it goes. Something popped up. It's me. I said hello to myself. Anyways, let's see what else is going on here. Um, okay, so I have a picture that I found off of Pixabay. If you don't know about Pixabay, it's a really great website for images that are free, copyright free, so you can paint them in whatever medium you want, use them however you want. And so that's what I found today. And it's just some grapes. And I picked one that has kind of shadow and highlights so that it makes it easier to paint. A lot of times, if you're using a reference photo and it's all washed out and there's nothing kind of giving definition to the um, shape of things, then it's harder to paint that. So lately, I've been trying to pick stuff that's a little bit more contrast with the shadows and the lights. Now, you see behind me, I have like this messy, super messy office, craft room, studio, and it is just kind of driving me nuts. That's why I've been doing the plein air the last couple times because I'm like, let's just go outside and avoid all this mess. But I had to clean up the living room and threw everything in here, so it's kind of my little catch-all. But hopefully that'll get organized. So let's see if we can. Hey, good morning. Hi, Linda. Welcome. Okay, so let me put this over my desk so we can see what I'm going to be painting. Um, let's see there. And I'm going to try and zoom in, but I also want to keep my palette visible to y'all so you can see how I'm mixing things. Let me get rid of that. And so hope y'all are staying safe today with this weather. It is been every day for weeks, I think. We're under a tornado watch or something. Thunderstorms, craziness like that. All right, so I think that's pretty good right there. So I already went ahead and drew this because it really wasn't too involved to do that. It was I use an app called DaVinci, and you can put any photo that you have in there, and it will help you trace it. If you're interested in learning how to use that, I can do that. Oh, thank you, Linda, for saying I look beautiful. You're beautiful. So let me see what I got here. I got my 2 little cups of water. And the reason I always have 2 is because one's for clean water and one's for mixing all of your messy paint off of your paintbrush in, but then you always have one that has clean water. I'm going to use, I don't know which one of these brushes I'm going to end up using. to paint this. I may just do like a whole wash at first because it's got a lot of purple. And I know I didn't show you guys the picture, um, but um, it's got a bunch of purpley looking grapes. So I wish there was a way I can do that. When I get good with all this camera stuff and maybe I'll have multiple camera angles, multiple software. I don't know. We'll see. Someday, God willing. All right. So maybe what I'll do first is this background. I'm going to go around like these more prominent looking grapes. Sometimes I go quiet because I'm concentrating. Um, this area on here is going to be a highlight, so I don't want any paint to go in there. I'm going to go around that. And so, uh, but there's no right or wrong way to approach a painting. You can start by um, doing the background. You can start by doing the main subject. A lot of times I do pet portraits, and I'll start with the eyes because I think that's like the most important part of the painting. Um, and then the background is what I do last. So it just depends on your personal preference. Um, but another thing that's important to remember is that you will be doing the painting how you want to be doing the painting. I do not know why my little puppies are barking. Probably because they hear my voice and they're like, "Who's in there with mama?" That's probably what they're saying. It's like, no one's in here with mama except all the precious people online. um, so now I'm just adding a little bit of greens in here. I'm just letting it spread. And see what else. So right here I've done where I wetted the paper and then just did some blobs of color just to make it kind of start to build. And so like layers and layers, that's what we want to do when we're painting, is just do some layers on top of layers. So mixing colors too is something that practice will help you get better at. And I like just using a little bit of purple and a little bit of blue for this grape background. So they're kind of, the ones in the background are going to be a little darker than the ones in the foreground. So I'm going to mix this one just a little darker. I think I'm liking that color. Let's see how it looks. See how that spreads out? I don't know if you can see that. Sometimes if you're on YouTube, you can touch your screen and zoom in. So let me know in the comments if that's something that works. I know a lot of people are like, can you zoom in? And for me to keep doing that would probably be difficult to keep doing. Let me see if you guys are having any problem seeing what I'm seeing. All right, so there is a little glare where the water is on the paper, but not too bad where I'm painting. So that should be okay. I'm going to keep adding some. Now that grape might be part of this bunch. I have to look at my reference photo. And I always tell people in my classes, keep looking at your reference photo. Do not try and imagine what you are seeing, because then your mind's just going to make it up and it's not going to be what the picture actually is. So this is the wet and wet technique right here. And I'm just letting it go wherever it wants. A lot of times before I paint, I do a little prayer. So I am praying that God will help guide my hand in this process today. Let me see. Now this technique down here, what I'm doing is called wet on dry. So I have not wetted the paper at all down here. All this is dry. And you see the difference that it does. So this is it's still really pretty, and it's bleeding out, but it's staying more controlled. I know a lot of my students will be like frustrated if it's not staying where they want it to. And I can relate because when I first tried watercoloring a million years ago, it was not something I enjoyed. So I gave it up because it wasn't something I wanted to do. It was too frustrating because I'd try and paint a picture on wet paper and it just bled everywhere. So what I found when I started following Paul Clark was, hey, good morning, Marianne. Um, so what I found when I started watching Paul Clark's videos was that there's different ways to approach a painting. You don't have to do it all um, wet on wet. There's so many different ways to do this, and you have more control. And I love how this is turning out down here. Um, so what will that's probably what will help some of you if you're struggling with your painting. Try different techniques and different ways of approaching. So right now, like, see, this is still so super wet. You can't get any definition. It just keeps looking like little blobs. And for me, I'm very impatient, so I want it to be um, dry. And of course, it doesn't dry instantly. It has to take time. Now, I do have a heat tool I can blast on there to let it dry faster. Um, you know, that is how it is. All right. So it's hard to read all y'all's comments and think at the same time. Um, okay. So yeah, is this looking good? Let me double check and look at what you guys are saying. Oh yeah, that's looking pretty good. Um, so let's see. So while this is drying, so this section is going to dry. I'm going to start painting some of the grapes over here. So um, a real watery purple. Um, and see, this is what's so cool. And I do have this tilted at a little bit of an angle. So as you start learning how the water works, it'll work for you. And so see, already that's giving me some kind of a shadow on the bottom. Can do that with all of these. And that might be a little too time consuming for some people. Um, and if they have super highlights, you want to avoid painting those highlights. You can use masking fluid. I don't really enjoy the results I get with masking fluid for some reason. It doesn't like me. It like rips my paper when I try to take it off. Um, so I can tell right here as I'm looking at the picture, there's like a really light colored grape right here. Um, a really light one here. I'm just kind of going in and doing some little circles. And this is something that's just kind of fun. I don't know if you like coloring. I've always loved coloring. When I was a little girl, that's what I would do is just color in coloring books all the time. And I always said, I'm going to be an artist. And guess what? The Lord blessed me, and now I'm an artist. So you too can become an artist. Follow your dreams. Don't let anyone deter you from doing what you love. In fact, I was listening to a podcast this morning by Rafi and Klee. They are amazing and they help artists just to push through any kind of negativity, any kind of um, wanting to quit. In fact, the one they were talking about today was about, not quitting as an artist. And they said that if you need to take a break, obviously take a break. But he said, somebody somewhere needs your art. And what you do matters. And I love that. They're so positive. And one of the things too that he was saying in the video is that time isn't infinite. You only have so many hours in a day, and to use them wisely, which I'm guilty of not using them wisely. So, what I need to probably do is just forgive myself for not making the best use of my time and to move forward and just try and do better. And today, I actually remembered that I have a live on Mondays at 10, which is kind of funny. Last Monday, I had a friend text me and said, "Are you not going live today?" And I had totally forgot it, slipped my mind. So I apologize. And then I struggled, went outside, set up a tripod, and tried to do some plein air and like gale force winds. It was like probably 40-mile-per-hour winds out there, so it was really bad audio. I ended up not posting that, but I did the live at like 12:30, and then I ended up not posting it, just because I don't think it was a very good video. But it was the hydrangeas, so if you saw me post a still shot of that, and maybe you want to watch me paint hydrangeas again, I can try and make a video of that and post it sometime. There's a lot of videos in my head I want to post. So, like, I want to make and then post. But again, just only so many hours in a day, right? So you can see that I am going back where that's kind of dry and I can go in now and paint next to it. So if you try and paint next to something that's wet, you're going to see it's not going to stay. It's going to let that water just go into the next thing. But right now I'm just kind of getting these main shapes in, and there's always an ugly stage, I think, to watercoloring. So try and not be too hard on yourself if like at first you're like, it's not anything like the painting or the picture I'm looking at. Just give it some time. It's gonna emerge. So these are the things. And like another thing I have a hard time doing is mixing enough of the right color for the whole painting, but that's okay if you don't um, do it at first. This is a great way to practice mixing colors is if you don't mix enough. So basically, you can go in and keep trying to match that color. So I do see some more colors in here. Let me see that. See now I'm building up some contrasting. So this is going to be some of the darker colors in there. Um, a lot of these back here are just darker. There are some green ones, so that's going to be an interesting thing. You'll notice that I'm holding my painting or my brush kind of towards the end, and that just makes it so that it's more of a loose feel. You may not have as much control this way, but that's kind of what I'm going for, is trying to create this more of a loose feel to this. It's not super detailed. This is the background. So this part is not going to be super detailed. It's supposed to be kind of blurred out in the background. Um, and I'm just kind of getting little round shapes in there. So I don't know. Is anybody painting along with me or y'all just watching? I don't see nobody commenting. Probably off doing laundry. I do that a lot. I'll listen to a podcast or watch a live video from one of my um, artists that I follow on YouTube, and I try and get some chores done while they're talking. It's kind of nice to hear different ways of painting. So this one I'm going to make my dirty water, I guess, over here. And there is some green in there. Let's see if I can mix another. A little bit of green. So these are just some grapes. And there was a couple pictures I saw in Pixabay that I was interested in doing. I really had a hard time picking, like which one should I do? Um, but that's just because they're all so beautiful from pictures. So this is kind of a brighter green than I'm used to doing, but I'm just going to do it to start because I think that what I'll end up doing is going back over it. I think this part right here is going to be the green, and that should have been white. I think I was mixed up there. And this is why you have to keep looking. Keep looking. You're laying back down. Okay. Yes, everybody needs to take a nap. I am a firm believer in laying down and taking a nap. Oh, that's good. Were you outside? What were you doing outside? You gotta be careful out there. It's like gonna storm. In fact, the weather was on the TV. I had to turn it off because it was so loud. Um, and now I'm just kind of getting some more green in here, and no one's gonna see my reference photo, so it's okay if I don't get every detail correct. Um, that's another thing that sometimes we get very concerned about when we don't need to be concerned about it because we will be able to um, make it our own without worrying if someone's going to be like, hey, you got that detail wrong. They're not going to be seeing what you see. And see, sometimes painting plein air outside, that's for sure no one's going to see that. But see if we can get some green in here. Okay, so now I'm going to go back to this technique where we're doing wet on dry. There are definitely some leaves down here that I want to get. I'm going to try and avoid, if I can, touching these grapes I've already painted. I'm going to go around, and that's why it's important to have paintbrushes with a tip. And so this one is a fairly expensive paintbrush that I use. It's called the Black Silver, I think. Yes, all this rain, it's just crazy. But what I didn't realize until my friend Marianne, who might still be with us, I don't know if she's in the chat still, but she said these are a travel set. That's probably why they're expensive. But when you travel, guess what? You can put that like that and it protects your brush from bending. So that's what's kind of cool about this. And it goes smaller so it can fit in a box or something. So it's true, you learn something new every day. Let's see what else we got. This might be some green in here. And then I think around this, all this down here might be some green. And this leaf right here, as I'm looking, it's going to have real bright, almost white green. So I'm going to do a darker green up against it that will make it stand out. So if I mix my green with just a little bit of red, ooh, makes it darker. Excuse me. Oh, my sneeze made my dog bark. All right, so now I'm just adding this darker green in there and building up this layer right here. You know what I didn't give myself? Let's see if I can find some paper towel. So a lot of times if you mess up on your painting and you don't like how it's looking, guess what you can do? You can dab it out. So like let's say thank you, Linda Ball, for saying bless you. That's sweet. So like let's say I put some paint right there. and I didn't like that. So what I can do is dab it out very easily. And so that's what I really love about watercolor. You really can't mess it up too much. Let's see. You know, Linda, with all this rain, I don't know if you've noticed in your yard, but like all my plants and flowers that I've planted recently are just growing out of control. So the rain is good for that. Um, which I think you can overdo it. I think we almost had 5, 6 inches of rain here in the last couple days. Some other areas, I live on the Gulf Coast, and Pensacola got like 18 inches of rain one day, like in one day. That's a lot of rain. Let's see what else I'm gonna put in here. So I don't know if you saw what I did, but I mixed this green and I put just a little bit of this red into it, and look how it just darkens the green. So that's a trick you can do when mixing colors, is that you can use, like, let's say you have a yellow that you kind of want to darken, just put a little bit of purple, and the contrasting color is what works. So like if you have an orange and you want to darken it, just put a little bit of blue. And those are the ways I go about darkening my colors. I do have Payne's Gray, which is a great way to darken your colors. Your hibiscus is getting tons of unblocked flowers. Ooh, I plant and ground and same thing. Oh, okay, so your hibiscus is getting flowers. You didn't loosen the roots. Okay, so I planted a hibiscus plant in the ground, which I probably should put in a pot because it dies every winter to the ground. Like there's nothing left on it. Um, so it dies to the ground. Right now it's about, I would say, not even a foot tall. It's the growth is coming back every year, but it takes so long for the growth that I don't really get a ton of flowers. And last year all my flowers are being like bitten off by some kind of creature. I have no idea what it was. It was very annoying and I was not happy. I kept trying to figure out what is attacking my hibiscus flowers right when the little bud would come out. A little flower bud, I wouldn't even get to see the flower. It would just be snipped off, and it could be a worm, it could be anything. Oh, unbloomed. Okay, yeah. So keep an eye out. There could be some kind of little creature that wants to eat your hibiscus flowers. All right, so here's another shape I'm going to do. That stem, and it just go around all these little grapes. So there we go. So this is going to be so dark that it'll be almost black later. But right now I'm just trying to get the first layer in there. Like, I don't know what color this is going to be. This is going to be really dark in here too, I think. Unless that's the leaf. I don't know. Sometimes I wonder if I drew this right, but when it's done, I think it'll look good. And so we have some lighter leaves that I want to get really light. And I like have to paint some of this stuff in sections because this is going to be light and this is going to be darker in there for the shadow. Actually, this is going to be really dark. Might go back over here, do some more of the purple. See, I just heard a rumble. So I'm just kind of getting these built up a little bit more. Um, and then there's some darker. I need to mix some of my Payne's gray in there. Just kind of no detail. This is just random little touches to make your mind think there's more grapes in there. Like this will be darker too. So, so what have you been up to, Linda? Have you been doing any painting in between classes or any kind of crafts? I know you're always doing something fun, learning something, making cards. She's really good at making cards. They're so beautiful. So is Marianne. Marianne's really good at all that too, card making. Um, some of this and see a consistency of your paint too will help you be. Let's see, will help you get those darker values. So see, I like the light color of my grapes right now. I'm gonna just start adding some darker values in here and make them really pop out. And I'm not normally too um, detailed, but this is going to make it so that they will pop and that you'll be able to see all the details that you need to see. Can you see this okay? Ooh, you did poinsettias already, huh? That is cool. Um, you probably should start doing YouTube channel on all the cards you make because it's fabulous. And how many cards do you think you're going to put out for Christmas this year? I used to, like a long time ago, send out like 120 Christmas cards every year. But it does get kind of hard to do that over and over. And now that, like, what is the price of a stamp? Um, it's like someone told me it's like $60 now or 60 cents now or something. I can't remember. Um, but yeah, if you were to send that many Christmas cards out, it's going to be expensive. Um, but that's okay. I guess sometimes it's worth it to do that. Mm, I think I need to do some more lighter ones here, or maybe they are kind of darker, but not quite as dark as that other spot. Sorry about my dogs. Ugh, sometimes they just want to say hi to the mailman. You know, the mailman just stopped and moved on. More right here. And can't really tell in the picture. Sometimes when you use a photograph and it's very blurry in spots, you just kind of have to guess or try and paint that. I am liking how some of these are popping out. My little bit. So yeah, some of these grapes are kind of in the dark underneath other grapes. Um, but another thing that's cool is my church is doing a whole series on the fruit of the spirit. And so I was trying to help the kiddos and Sunday school understand the fruits of the spirit of joy, because so many times we think of happiness as joy, and a lot of them were kind of describing joy that way, like being happy. And I told him, I said, there's circumstances in life that make you happy, like, a nice bowl of ice cream, or um, some other, um, what else makes you happy? Um, Getting gifts on your birthday, and right here. Just kind of eyeballing this stuff now. Um, so like going on a vacation, um, things like that, getting a promotion at work. There's a lot of things that can make you happy. I have to remove some right here. There's a stem right there. See, this is why you got to keep your paper towel handy. And so then the reverse is true too about circumstances. If you have something bad happen, then that makes you sad. Um, so a lot of times we think that joy is, not having bad things happen to you, but that's not true. Really, as a believer, my joy comes from my salvation and the fact that God loves me. And even though I've gone through some tough things in my life, I know He's not left me, and He's always been there for me. Let me see if I can add more blue to this. I think it needs more blue. And if you ever are finished with a painting, or you think you're close to being finished with a painting and the color just doesn't seem right for what you want, the beauty of watercolor is that you can glaze over the top of it. So like if I don't like how the color of these grapes are, I can start going in and changing that color. Like look at that. And some of these are very blue. There's a lot of there is a lot of um, highlights on these too. I don't want to overdo this, but I can always go in and just lift that out and make those more. See how like just adding that little highlight gives them that rounded feel? That's what I love about watercolor. You just do something real simple, and it makes a huge difference. I'm not like super expert at everything watercolors. I do practice, and I kind of know the concepts of color theory and things like that pretty good, because I've been an artist pretty much my whole adult life. And so yeah, I do know a lot about art. Um, but I wouldn't say I'm an expert in the watercolor field yet, because it's just I just started like in 2020, wanting to paint a mermaid for my sister. She loves mermaids. Um, that one needs to have a little more of that blue. Some of these are huge, huge grapes. They probably got a lot of rain. um, but look at this water. It's just the paint, just beautiful. You can't achieve this with acrylic. And I would say you probably can't really achieve it with gouache. I don't know. Linda gave me a whole gouache set that I love. Um, I, started using it for mixed media because it's more opaque, which I like for the mixed media fun, stuff that I've been doing. Um, and then my new friend Yolanda gave me some little tubes of paint or like little containers of paint for doing mixed media. So you want them more opaque when you're doing mixed media. But I do a lot with the watercolor too. You just definitely have to use it thicker, which is fine. Now I want to get that, as this is drying, I want to get this definition in there of that stem because it's going to pop out and it's going to look more like it's come forward a little bit. I'm sorry, I am concentrating. um, there you go right there, make that grape stand out. And these are little leaves. They have like these little points on them. And that's definitely dark in there. In there. If you ever find like a hard edge like that, you can always rinse your brush and just soften it with a little bit of clean water. Let's see. I get some more this darker blue. Um, I got this set of paints from Hobby Lobby for my daughter like before 2020. So I've had this a while, and you can see the plastics kind of disintegrating right there. Um, but like the colors that I used a lot of, I've had to replace and um, get like tube paints. Let me show you what I've got in here. So like these, um, what is this one? This is ivory black. I don't think I've ever used that. Just different. And I've just started using this Mayberry blue. In fact, I have this palette that I started fresh just for that brand. And the crazy thing though about this paint is that it has a strange smell, like my water dish. If I have rinsed the paint off in there and I've let it sit, it has a strange smell, almost like rotten eggs. It's not a good smell. So I think because this doesn't have any strange chemicals to preserve it, it has like a natural based preservative. I can't remember if it's like gargum or something. I don't know what's in there. Some kind of binding agent. But so yeah, just know that if you're gonna use Mayberry blue, um, there may be some strange odor from that. But so I've replaced a lot of the colors in here with um, the little tube paint, and it dries, but you can re-wet it and keep using it as I've as this was intended as just like pan paints. So tube paints can be created to make pan paints. They will just dry and then you can re-wet them. Let's see. Yeah, it's some dark in here. So sometimes you just want to put some dark values in real quick, and you can use what I like to um, can do this, and it just adds some little splatters in there. Um, If you don't like some of those splatters, just kind of lift them up. Let's see, I don't want all of those splatters. And you can definitely just get rid of them. But I like how splatters make it look painterly. I don't want it to look photorealistic. I like it when my paintings look like a painting, like someone splattered some paint and just kind of started making it look like some kind of image. All right, we are getting there. I need some more Payne's Gray in my palette. And some dark in there. Just randomly. No, what is that? I just go over it with some green. I don't know what color that really is. What kind of sunlight, I think. You know, I didn't use any yellow in my green, and I'm seeing a lot of yellow now as I'm looking at it. There's like some yellow in this part. In this leaf. This leaf has a lot more yellow. This one has some yellow. This definitely has some yellow. How's that looking? Can you guys see that, or is it kind of shining? Oh, it's turning out pretty good. I like seeing my painting on some kind of device because then it doesn't look like it's mine, and I can kind of be impressed, I guess, that I made something. And you know what? It's okay to be happy with something you made. I think that's a good thing, to be happy with what you've created. Yeah, this is turning out pretty good. You want to darken, to make that darker in that's yellow. I meant to do red. Now, some people want to have their paints all super neat and pretty, and I'm not going to say that's wrong, because there's not really anything wrong when you're creating art. It's how you want to do you. For me, I don't mind all this dirtiness in the palette, because it makes it easy for me. I'm kind of messy, like I showed you my craft room, a little messy. But that's okay. Fix all kinds. So I follow quite a few different artists online, and it's always amazing to see how some are neat and clean and organized. And for me, that is just not a possibility. I'm more of a messy, disorganized, and it's okay. Like, I think I did a video where I told you guys, don't worry about the mess in your kitchen. If you want to go paint, go paint. That's I just think that's good advice. So see right here, I don't know if you can tell, but basically I did some dark up against this leaf, and then I re-wet down here just to let that spread across the whole leaf. But this is supposed to be kind of a white, almost bright in the sunlight. And that's why I like using a picture that has some highlights and shadows, so that you can really get the depth. I hope this video isn't going too long. I know sometimes I usually paint pretty quick, and this is probably taking longer than I normally take. Because I guess I'm taking a lot of time to talk, chit chat. Right here. Where else should I put some dark in here? Like that. That's turning out pretty. I just like putting little splotches here and there. Now, sometimes spending a little bit more time on just a few spots will help that pop. Oh yeah, there's like a dark shadow under this one. And get I may end up doing that with a bunch of them. It just kind of gives it a more rounded feel. I'm going to see, what time is it? Oh, it's almost 11. I'm going to try and end at 11, even if this isn't quite done. I think you guys have things to do, places to go. I probably should do some cleaning. My husband and bonus son took off for the day. They have today off. It's a holiday. So they're going to go and do some father son stuff, which is good. My daughter's off working. My other daughter's probably working. I think I'm alone except for them doggies. Got them doggies in the house, which is cool. I like my doggies. Um, I don't know if I'll do a pet portrait with, you know, as a live. That's kind of a harder subject to do. I have to concentrate. Um, so I really don't know. Making some there. Yeah, this is where I start getting a little bit like, okay, I'm just going to start going for it and not worry about what it's looking like. I gotta finish. Let's see. I've always loved how watercoloring is very freeing. It's fun. This is what I always tell people. Just have fun, enjoy it. Um, it brings me joy. And that goes back to like the fruits of the spirit. I know like what I was thinking about, or what I was saying about earlier, how time isn't infinite, and forgive yourself for um, wasting time if you feel like you've been one of those time wasters. Um, the thing is um, we can always go back, and we can always start fresh. So forgive yourself if you feel like you haven't accomplished what you wanted to, and you need to just start doing it now going forward. And even if you mess up and you don't completely do what you say you're supposed to, because really it's only you that you have to um, account for your time here. But I did want to tell you guys, So the fruit of the spirit, I always like to read some scripture. Um, but Galatians 5:22 through 23 is the fruit of the spirit is love, joy, peace, patience, kindness, goodness, faithfulness, gentleness, and self-control. And against such things there is no law. So basically what I get from that is that if you're following those characteristics, those attributes, if you're um, being kind and you're loving and you're filled with joy and um, you are gentle and you have self control and these are the things that I feel the world needs. That's what our world needs is more of that stuff and not so much of um, the hate that I've seen. Um, so a lot of times we worry about, are we a good enough person? Well, look at that list and tell me if you have um, the fruit of the Spirit. And the answer is yes, or, you're working on it, and that's good. Um, I hope y'all aren't hearing my stomach growl. It was totally, I should have ate breakfast before I went live. How's that looking? Let me see. Yeah, it's not too, oh, it's not too shiny on there. I know when the paper's wet, it gets really, really shiny. And I hear the thunder. I'm hearing my stomach thundering and the clouds outside are thundering. So it's kind of cool. Let's see. Kind of lifting up right here. That leaf needs to come out. And then I don't know what I did up here, but I'm going to lift out that because it needs to be brighter. All this was supposed to be more of a white color. So see, I'm just lifting that out. And this stem, I don't know if I'm going to be able to do it while this is wet. Let's see if we can. That looks pretty. Oh, I love storms. Y'all love storms? I love storms. My one little dog does not love storms. Let's see. What else do I need to do on this? Is that pretty close to being done? Man, I can make some of this darker to make it go back into the recesses of that. And I could make some of this have a little more definition. I can't really tell which grape that is. Kind of like a little something. That's looking pretty. What time is it? Oh, one more minute, I think. I'm going to wrap this up. That is looking pretty. I like it. And I had fun. That's what matters, right? Is having some fun and enjoying what you're doing. I think this needs to have a little more darker stuff in there. Just make that darker in there. Yeah, that's looking pretty. I may, when this is totally dry, go in with a white gel pen and add a little bit of highlights on top of some of these grapes just to bring it out a little bit. But I think they're looking pretty good. Yeah, some of these I might have made too dark. But that's what's great about this. Like it's still kind of wet, so I can lift them up and do that. And out. Yep. So, anyways, I hope this has been fun for y'all, and thank you so much for tuning in today. Um, I hope that you let me know in the comments if you want to see a video on using that DaVinci Eye. I know you can look that up. That's what I use to kind of get a rough sketch of my pet portraits or any kind of painting that I'm going to be doing. So I could probably do a video on that if you're interested. Um, but anyways, I hope y'all have a blessed day. Thank you so much for watching. And if you haven't already, please like and subscribe my channel. It'll help me grow and reach more people so that we can be an encouragement to one another. So I hope you guys have a blessed day.